Yeah, how'd you get into coffee? I just got started there.
My dad was a huge Starbucks drinker when I was a kid, as well as my two older sisters. I'm the youngest of three. Kind of started there with just repeating what I saw. So started drinking that, I don't know, 13, 14, somewhere around that time, which is probably why I'm a little shorter. It was kind of just what we did as a family, so started drinking that. I worked in retail and customer service for a while, and then got a job at Starbucks actually, because I thought it would be fun, and it was something I was really interested in. So yeah, that was, I guess, 4.5 years ago now.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. So just the customer interactions and the beauty of the product itself was kind of my way in, and just kind of stuck. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up? Are you from Lancaster?
Yeah, so I grew up on College Avenue, actually, right off of Columbia Ave. Lived there for 15 years, and then my parents sold the house, and we moved to Mexico for 2 years.
Okay.
So they did a lot of English camps, and like classes there, and me being 15, turned 15 on the drive down, obviously wasn't going to stay back by myself. So yeah, tagged along for 2 years in Mexico. So, but otherwise, like, born and raised in the city. So, yeah.
How was Mexico?
It was awesome and awful at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you spend 15 years of your life going to this school, hanging out with these people, doing this routine, and then kind of uproot that and go somewhere else. Mexico is gorgeous. We were really far down south, 2 hours south of Mexico City, roughly, in a place called Puebla, and just like gorgeous, amazing people, amazing culture. They have a beautiful respect for people's time, something that we will never achieve as a society. But yeah, so there were a lot of beautiful things that took place there, and a lot of things that I grew in and learned. But overall, it was pretty rough. So
yeah. So you did high school in Mexico,
yeah,
right?
So I went to a bilingual school for the first year. I had been homeschooled for a while previously, so went to a bilingual school the first year, which was pretty sweet. A lot of other kids in my similar situation, so I got to know a lot of cool people there. And then next year was homeschooled. So yeah, but was there for freshman and sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah, before we ended up moving back.
Serious culture shock, I guess.
Yeah, we had done some short-term trips years prior, so it wasn't as much of a shock at first. But that being said, living somewhere is much different than kind of visiting and knowing that, great, in a week and a half, I'm gonna be back home, everything's gonna be cool. So yeah, it's kind of a survival mode at first. Yeah.
Then you came back here. Did your whole family move back, or did you come back on your own, or how?
Yeah, so my parents and I all moved back together then, and just kind of continued life. That being said, continued it in a way that was definitely in a different path or direction based off of, the experience we just had in Mexico. So, needless to say, I mean, most kids didn't really get along with their parents at that age, but we definitely did not get along.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was, we weren't super close before that, but Mexico was a little bit of a strain on that, so. Yeah. Smooth things over now. Everything's pretty cool.
Everything's cool now.
Yeah.
Hindsight.
Initially, yeah, a little bit of a tense relationship.
Did you lash out and act out?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but probably no more than anyone when they were a kid. So
Okay.
it's normal stuff, you could say.
Yeah. So your dad was the one who actually nominated you to be in this article. And
Okay.
He mentioned something about a football career or of some sort. I couldn't quite follow, but evidently you played a lot of soccer. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
for the American audience.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, I played basically ever since, just a few years old, and it was really my life for 16, 17 years of my life. And then partway into junior year, the end of junior year, I ended up tearing my ACL in my left knee, so that put me out of commission for a little while, and ended up missing out on some tournaments that I was going to be a part of and play in front of some scouts. Of course, everyone, you know, in my opinion, sure, if I would have played in front of this person, would have gone here, but
Yeah.
probably not. I mean, it's all fun and games until you get to a certain level, then it's pretty fucking hard.
Really?
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you end up playing for a semi-pro team or a pro team?
Yeah, so I was in Mexico. I had the chance to play for a club team there that was just a couple notches below one of their semi-pro teams, and then in the States I played for a season, and this was kind of post surgery. Got to play for a team. Knee was initially fine after the surgery. As they say, it's better than what it was initially, but the my other knee was tweaked.
Oh, okay.
From trying to compensate for that. So
Who's the kitty?
this is Lucy. We got her about 2 years ago. She was a stray. Almost didn't make it, but this is our child now.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Um,
Very cool.
not that we wouldn't want to have kids someday, but she
Starter.
fits the bill better than I think a kid
Yeah.
would. So yeah, she's pretty great. She's pretty great. But yeah. So I mean, played for like that was it. That was my life. That was my goal. Was gonna play here, gonna go pro, gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then bum knee kind of took care of a lot of that, and then just also kind of got interested in other things in life.
Okay.
So it wasn't as much of like a deal breaker not to play soccer. So yeah.
Let's get to those other things, but first, big culture difference between Americans' idea of soccer and Mexicans' idea of soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is the opportunity there for just anybody and everybody to play at a competitive level. Whereas in the States, unfortunately, if you want to actually make it and do really well, you're going to have to spend a lot of money and play on an expensive team and travel around and pay for hotels and X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, my parents shelled out a lot of money for me to do that for a while, but I mean, I wasn't by any means on one of the best club teams in the area. Whereas in Mexico, I mean, it's just a way of life. It's people are playing every day on the street, and then yeah, I mean, it was extremely affordable to play on the team that I was playing on.
So after soccer ran its course and you got some new aspirations, what were those?
I got into music for a little while.
Okay.
This was also like,
How old are you, by the way?
I am 26.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to think about that for a second.
That's all right.
That was, so when I was like back in the city here, that was kind of when the local hardcore metal scene was really kind of in its prime, I guess you could say. There were a lot of local bands, a lot of shows, so I kind of hopped on that. And
You talking like August Burns Red? Like
yeah, I mean, that was back when they were still like pretty local, and that was back when Texas in July was still together. Bishop of the Apocalypse, Circus. Yeah, so I was part of a band for a little while, and when I say part of a band, we I think played like 2 shows.
Okay.
It was mostly me and this other guy in his basement writing songs, or him really writing songs and me trying to follow along. And then he ended up moving to Ohio, so it just kind of fizzled out. Yeah.
There goes that.
that was the extent of my my musical career. Yeah. I still have the guitar. It doesn't have any strings on it or anything. I haven't played it in years.
So now you're just chasing the coffee thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, was working in coffee for a few years, even when I was doing a little bit of music. I started at Starbucks, and then I got the chance to move into the city with a guy who worked for Crystal Weaver over at Prince Street Cafe. His name was Kevin, so moved in with this guy named Kevin. Never met him before. We became good friends. He got me a job at Prince Street then. I was there for 5 months, I believe, before Passenger, which again owned by Crystal and her business partner, but just kind of the roastery side of things. Definitely a different kind of, different business, if you will, but same owners. Got the chance to work for them when they first bought a retail location, the old Airstream trailer that used to sit in the park right down here. So yeah, I mean, kind of like dove into that head first and loved it. Incredible company, incredible people, and having the chance to work day in and day out with incredible product is why I'm still there.
Is the interaction with people something that you? I mean, I know you from the coffee shop, and it always looked like right away we talk and just be like, you were very open to hear whatever the heck I wanted to say or guess.
Yeah, I mean, my personality definitely doesn't. Like, if we were all hanging out somewhere, like, I wouldn't get filled up from that or kind of be energized from that. Like, people don't do that for me. I need my time alone, do my own thing. But that being said, I kind of love that whole just customer service life, if you will, and that making people feel at home, comfortable. Someone's choosing to go out and spend money somewhere.
Yeah.
It should be a good experience if they're choosing to spend well-earned money. So yeah, I love it.
Cool. Now, your dad had said also that you're interested in or involved with To Write Love on Her Arms. I know my son had gotten involved with that organization for a little bit, or that movement, I guess.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
I got involved initially, honestly, from I was cutting myself for quite some time. And had some suicidal thoughts as well. I think I was able to kind of to work through some things based off of some friends that I had at that moment, which is also one of the reasons why I got into To Write Love in Her Arms with the guy who started it. I mean, it was him and some friends who had met a girl essentially, and she needed help, and it was help in the area of all the topics that people don't like to talk about, self-abuse, suicide, depression, anxiety, which unfortunately they're still kind of taboo topics, if you will, and that people shy away from them, but they're extremely real, and I've experienced a percentage of a few of those feelings and emotions. Definitely not to the extent of other people that I know, but enough that I kind of understand where people are coming from when they're dealing with those things. So yeah, I was interested in what they were doing as a brand or a company, if you will. Thought it was just really beautiful. So yeah, I mean, bought the T-shirts. Yeah. Had a poster. Yeah. X, Y, and Z. Would read all the blogs that they had. It was just kind of it was more of a community, if you will, in that a lot of people with similar issues kind of got together and they were like, okay, like, I'm on the same page as you with this, what do you do in this situation? Kind of more like a support group, if you will. But yeah, just like I think a beautiful organization. So,
when you were in your situation, what brought you out of wanting to self-harm or any potential suicidal thoughts?
I think it was, I'm a firm believer in that life can be and should be beautiful. And when you find something that you are truly passionate about, this is a quote from an old soccer coach of mine. He said, "Life is a simple thing, though it rarely seems so. Find something you love and do it well." And that's something that I've kind of latched onto. Not necessarily in that moment, but obviously I hadn't met him when I was going through the roughest patch, but I mean, when you find things that kind of really bring you life and fulfillment and joy, those are the things I think that carry you through any and every situation. So whether that's people or, my wife and how supportive she is, or, the industry that I get to be a part of, or just like the friends around me that would, answer the phone at 2:30 a.m. if I needed for anything or whatever. So,
is there advice you would give someone who might not have immediate support that need to speak with someone? What should they do? How could they?
I mean, I probably wouldn't be the best one to answer that, but
okay.
There's always someone out there willing to listen. I know I've heard a lot of good things, even just from like the suicide prevention hotline, and like people I know who have called that number, and someone's always there to at least listen and kind of offer a different perspective or thought process on a certain situation or scenario, with whatever someone's dealing with. But yeah, I think it's just kind of looking for the beauty in every situation, and not saying that it's always, you know, right in front of you, but also too realizing that what makes life so beautiful is the people and how different they are. So I think just simply understanding we matter as people is kind of the foundation of moving forward.